Hello and thank you for joining our webinar this morning. We have Helen Murphy here from Bytes and Timothy Stone here from Box, who will be going through the webinar with you.
Morning everyone. Thanks Amy. My name is Helen and I'm the Vendor Relationship Manager for Box, and I'm part of our Storage Security Mobility team here at Bytes. So Bytes are one of only 4 Premier partners, which is the highest level of partnership afforded to Box partners. This means we have a dedicated team of people that you can utilise with a high level of support that's available to you. So Box are a market leader. Gartner researched a number of vendors in the enterprise file share and synchronization space, and Box received the best rating overall. We choose to work with only the best vendors in this space, and Box form part of a number of solutions that Bytes can offer that can help our customers deliver better productivity and collaboration to your mobile workforce whilst maintaining control from an IT security and compliance perspective. So we felt it was important to bring you today's webinar, as we're seeing that individuals within our organisations are in fact already using free consumer file sharing tools. This could be due to limitations on sending large files via email, or so they can access corporate content while outside the office on their consumer devices, and this is currently not being controlled by IT. So we wanted to give you the opportunity to learn more about how Box can help address these concerns. So I'd now like to introduce Tim from Box to begin the webinar.
Thanks very much. Good morning, everybody. Okay, so let me just show my screen. Okay, so hopefully you can see my PowerPoint on your screens at the moment. So my name is Tim Stone. I'm a sales engineer with Box, and the topic I'm going to be really covering is how do you empower your mobile workforce using our product, which is Box. Okay, so let me just step through. I won't bore you too much with PowerPoint slides, and then I'll go into a demonstration of how the actual product looks, both on a computer, so through the web application, but also through mobile devices as well. So the first thing is the consumerisation of technology that we're seeing. So, we all want to use applications in the workplace that are instantly familiar. At home, we're using kind of the likes of Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn, and the sort of technology that is very easy to grasp. And it's, for too long we've gone to the office and we've been tortured by legacy technology, which is, has a big training element. It's just complex to use. We want to be able to access this content from any device. So again, kind of gone are the days of just turning up at your office, being given your kind of desktop computer, and you only work during your office hours. We're constantly out and about. We want to have access to our files on our mobile devices, on our tablets, on our smartphones, laptops, whatever else it might be. And also we want apps that are collaborative in nature, so kind of syncing in real time, giving us access. Doesn't matter which device we pick up, we want to be able to have access to the most recent version of the file, but then also to be able to collaborate with other people and share that content quickly and easily. So especially a good example would be that those large files which are too big to email, how do you very quickly collaborate with other people on those large files? Okay, so generally the way we work is changing. We've got all of these new devices, whether they're the sort of the smartphones, the tablets, the laptops, who knows what's coming next. We've got more information at our fingertips. We are sharing content very easily. We're breaking down hierarchies at work, being able to communicate with all sorts of different people very quickly. And for many of us, for knowledge workers, we're always working. We're always on our phones and our tablets and sharing information and commenting on the latest file that's been given to us. So these trends have all led to some changes, and there's been a bit of a schism between what the users want, which is obviously to work quickly and easily, to have access to their content on their mobile devices, to share content not just internally amongst their colleagues, but also externally with customers, with marketing agencies, with other partner companies. The IT department, typically they're kind of seen as the bad guy. They want to control the use of applications. They want, obviously they want to look after the security of the content. They want to make sure that applications that are being used are reliable and that they integrate with other business tools that are being provided by the company. They also want to be able to report and have a full audit trail of what's happening in the company. And they don't want an unnecessary administrative overhead, so they want to be able to provision the users nice and easily within these applications that they're using in the office. So where does Box fit into all of this? Well, what you get with Box is a next generation collaboration platform. So it doesn't matter which device you're using, the content is kept up to date, and it's very easy to share the content securely, whether that's internally within the organization or externally with customers, partner companies, that kind of thing. Instant mobile productivity. Whatever mobile device you're using, there'll be a native app designed for that particular operating system. So whether you're using a Windows phone or an iPad or a Samsung tablet, there'll be an app designed for that particular device, which allows you to access all of your content through the Box app. Not only can you access it, you can then remain productive. And this is something I'll come on to, is that we have our own app store with over 1,000 different best-of-breed apps within the app store, which integrate securely into Box and allow your users to stay productive. So for example, maybe you can access your PDF on your iPad, but you'd integrate, say, iAnnotate, which is an annotating PDF app, into your Box account. You can then, from Box, directly annotate your PDF, save it back, and that creates a new version of that file with all of those annotations. Finally, best-in-class security. So Box genuinely can be used as a security solution. Every step is tracked in the audit trail process. We have all of the accreditations, the security settings in place, which allow IT to control how users are using the Box application. I'll come on to this a bit more as we go through the demonstration. Okay, so how do companies use Box? So just a few very quick sort of examples here. So infrastructure replacement, getting rid of aging infrastructure, so maybe SAN storage, that kind of thing. Being able to save money and keep your content in the cloud instead. Enterprise mobility, making sure that any employee is able to access all of their content and remain productive, as I just mentioned a moment ago. Collaboration, being able to collaborate internally, so different teams collaborating on documents, making sure they're working together, but then also sharing that information securely outside of the organization. Finally then, custom app development. So we see Box very much as a content platform where you have all of your content residing, and then you can build various different applications on top of that platform, okay? And you can use the API to link it to other applications as well. So whether you want to build an app for a mobile device which leverages the content within Box, or maybe you want to integrate with another business application, for example, Salesforce.com, the CRM tool, you can actually access your Box content directly through CRM. Okay, from a mobile point of view, just concentrate on this just very quickly. So employees can use their favorite device. So if you have a bring your own device policy at work, so people can bring their phones, bring their iPads, bring their whatever other devices they want to use, then you can actually authorize them so these devices can be used by the employees to access their work content. Okay, content is automatically synced, so if somebody's working on their tablet, they add a new, maybe they're a construction worker, they take a photo of a particular issue on the building site, upload it to their Box account, that's going to then automatically appear in their web application as well. If it's a shared folder, maybe one of the other contractors is also invited into that folder, they will also receive a notification to say that that piece of content has just been added into their folder. Okay, so everybody's kept synced with the same content in the same area. Work whenever, wherever. Well, you've obviously got access online. If you need to have access to your content offline, so for example, we see a lot of medical sales reps using Box with all of their brochures and pricing information. They're often in hospitals or doctors' surgeries where they have no internet connectivity. So by marking all the content as offline, they're able to still get to all of their content, present it to the doctor, even though they don't have connectivity. And the final point there, so simplifying your mobile work life. This is, again, coming back to the OneCloud app store with 1,000 different apps. allowing your end user to use the content in the way that they need to for your specific industry. And if I just go into this slide, it sort of shows you various different areas of how the OneCloud App Store can be utilized, whether it's simply viewing documents and editing them, managing your files, note-taking, to all of these different areas. For example, charts and diagrams, viewing PDFs, and then lots of other sort of usages. So e-signature, so DocuSign is something else that we integrate with. Maybe you've got forms and contracts you need to send to people. You can link it with DocuSign so that then you get an e-signature on the contract. It gets sent back to you, all without actually leaving the Box application. Okay. Finally, vertical applications. So it doesn't matter what industry you're in, there are going to be various applications that are specific to your industry. We have many of these linking into Box, so it's always interesting to sort of hear a bit more about your specific use cases and the different ways that we can use Box to meet your needs as an organization or within your industry. Very quickly, a little bit about Box. So we have just over 225,000 businesses using Box. We're up to just over 25 million paid users of the software, and we have 99% of the Fortune 500. So business is growing very quickly. Lots of customers out there. So quite often when people come with questions, we can find another example of how another company around the world has done exactly the same thing, and maybe an innovative way they've used Box to solve that particular problem. Just finally, some security standards. So, whether it's from the application point of view, whether it's from our internal systems, whether it's from our data centers, we have lots of different accreditations in place showing that we have the best security on the market. For us as an organization, the security of the Box infrastructure and the platform is absolutely key. Okay, so whether it's the ISO 27001 certifications, both globally and UK-based, HIPAA being medical patient record data, we're certified to hold that in the US. We have Safe Harbor accreditation, we've got the SSAE 16, SOC 1 and SOC 2 qualifications, and also if we have any government customers on the webinar, we're accredited within the G-Cloud as well. Okay, so that's my very brief introduction. I'm now going to just switch across into a demonstration. Okay, I think as was mentioned at the beginning, if you do have any questions as we go through them, please do write them into the chat column and we'll handle them at the end of this presentation. So I'm going to take about 25 minutes or so just to step through some areas of Box. If you haven't seen Box, I'm going to start off in the web application, which hopefully you're seeing now on my screen. I'll then move across onto a mobile device, and then we'll just finish off very quickly looking at the administration controls. So if you're an administrator of Box, what is the view that you would see and how can you control, for example, people's mobile access to the system. Okay, so the first thing I see here in my account when I log in, all of these different folders. So if it's a yellow folder that I'm viewing, this shows that that's my private folder so that only I can see that content. If it's a blue folder, that means it's a collaborative workspace or a shared folder. So typically I would have invited somebody into that folder so they can also see the content within that folder structure. If I see this blue circular icon, this shows me that I've synced that content down to my local machine so that if I need to, I can access that content offline. And if I go to my Finder window here, you can see that Box automatically creates this Box sync folder as soon as I sync my first folder, and it generates all of the different folders here, so I can go into the folder structure and access all of that content offline here in my folders. I'm obviously using a Mac. If I was using a PC, it would be exactly the same concept. Within your Windows Explorer, you'd see the same format of a folder with all of the synced down folder structure there. Okay. At the top, I have a search bar. So instead of having to navigate down through a folder structure, if I just wanted to find a piece of content very quickly, I can start to type in my text here within the search window, and it's going to navigate to any files that I was working on recently. If I then run that search, it actually runs the full search, goes through every piece of content within my system, and runs through anything here that I need to have a look at. If I wanted to narrow that down, I could maybe then say, well, okay, only show me PDFs with that particular text. and I can keep adding in as many filters as I want as to, like, content produced recently, that sort of thing, and very quickly navigate to the right piece of content that I need to see. Okay, so nice and quick, nice and easy, no need to sort of go down through a folder structure wondering where I put that old piece of content, and just very quickly run a search for it. Okay, so if I go into a folder, so let's go into this marketing folder, for example. I simply click on the folder, it takes me into the subfolders, so you can have many different folder levels in your structure. Let's take this presentations folder within marketing. Okay, and then I can see here that I've got all of this different type of content. So whether it's a PDF, this is our own proprietary file, which is a box note, or video files, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoints, whatever else it might be, can be held within Box. Now, if I wanted to view one of these pieces of content, let's take in this case this MP4 video file. It's a 20 megabyte file. I can simply just click on that file and play it here within the browser. I'll just stop it. It's quite hard for me to speak over that. So I can simply play that content in the browser without needing to download the file or having any special software installed on my computer in order to actually run that video. Okay. And exactly the same with any of these other types of files. So maybe if I look at this PowerPoint here, if I click on that, once again, I can actually view that file directly in the browser, again with no need to download it. Okay, and with Box, we can preview over 100 different files very simply, very easily. Just click on the file and you can view it in the browser. Okay. Now, in the top right here, you can see these different actions. So I have these buttons here along the top which allow me to do different things to this particular file without running through everything. The first thing that it's showing me here is that I can make comments against the file. So this other user, James Thompson, I can see he's gone in and against this file, he said, that it looks great, good job, and he's mentioned some other users. So whenever you mention other users, they're going to receive a notification with a link. They can click on the link and be taken through to the file. Exactly the same thing as if I assign a task to somebody else. So maybe one of the other users, Anna Schreiber, if I ask her to review this file, I can also set a date for her to review it by. So maybe I want her to do it by Wednesday the 7th. And by clicking assign task to that user, she will then again receive a notification and she'll be able to go through, click on the file, view it, and come up with her review and add some more comments to the file here. Okay. Some other things I can do, I can also download this file if I want to. So simply just taking it from the internet here, downloading it to my local machine. But I can also edit the file as well. So if I click on edit, what you'll see is that it surfaces this PowerPoint within the relevant application. So in this case, it's going to open it up in PowerPoint. Okay, so there's the same PowerPoint. Okay. Do that again. Sorry, it's reverted back to the PowerPoint I was just showing you. So there you go. Okay, so it just opens up the PowerPoint. And I can then go into PowerPoint here and make some changes to this particular file, whatever that might be. And what you'll see is when I save that file, it automatically saves it directly back to Box. Okay, and then it will create a new version of this particular file. Okay, so all of those, any changes made to the file will be saved back to the same version and all kept in the same version history. So if I click on this, you can see here we've got version 70 of this particular file. I suppose I do quite a lot of demonstrations with this particular file here. And you can see every single version of the file listed in this folder history. Okay, so version 63, for example, the last change was made on the April 1st by this user at this time. Okay, if ever you want to roll it back to one of these previous versions of this file, then I can simply click Make Current, and that would make a new version with that particular issue of that file. Okay, so some different things that I can do there with the file. Okay. So we looked at some content here. Maybe just the other piece of content I'll show you is our box note very quickly. So a box note is our new proprietary file type that we're just in the process of launching at the moment. So it's a way for various different users to access the same content at the same time and simultaneously make edits to that file. Okay, so you can see this is me here making changes to the comment. Okay, so I can simply type away here. But I can also see that one of my other colleagues, in this case James Thompson, is also viewing this content at the same time. So if he were also to then start typing here, I'm going to see this at the same time. So maybe with conference calls, when various people are on the same call at the same time, keeping the same notes up to date, it becomes a very useful way of getting all of your thoughts down from the meeting on the same document here. Okay, so lots of different types of content. Now, on the top right-hand corner, what I see here are the collaborators. Okay, so now we start to see when I want to work on this content with other people, who it is that I've invited into this particular folder. Okay, so I can see that my colleague here, James Thompson, I've invited him into this presentations folder, and by hovering over here, you can see that his access level to the content is set to editor. Okay, so he has full ability to go in and edit the content, to add new content, to delete it, and so on and so forth. If I look at Federico, however, you can see that he's been invited in as a previewer only. So he can view the content, he can click on it and view it in the browser, but he has no ability to download it or edit the content or add new content, for example, to that folder. And if I simply click on the drop down here, you can see that there are 7 different levels of access that you can give to anybody that you invite into the folder, and it specifies exactly which permissions that user is able to do when you invite them into the folder. Okay, so if I want to invite somebody else into the folder, I'd simply click their name if the system already knows them, or their email address, write it in here, click on invite collaborators, give them the right access level, and they would then be invited to join that folder. Okay, that, just to be clear, that counts for internal users within the company that I work for, but also external users. So if I wanted to invite, say, a customer into this folder, then that works the same as well. If they already have a Box account, then they'll be able to simply just log in and go straight into that account. If they don't yet have a Box account, then they'll be prompted to set up a Box account and then automatically see that folder when they log in. Okay, so that's collaboration. If you simply wanted to send an email with a link to this file, just as you would with, say, an attachment, then if I take that PowerPoint I was just looking at a moment ago, if I click on the share link there, you can see that it simply creates a link to this particular file. So that's a unique link to this specific file. But with Box, if I click on the Access tab, I've got all of these different settings which I can add around this link to this file. Okay. So the first thing here is it's set to being an open link. So that means that I can send it outside of my company and anybody will have access to this file. If maybe it was confidential content, then you could set it to being accessible to only people within your company, and this would mean that they'd need to be logged in with your company's email address in order to actually access that content in the first place. Okay, just go back, let's keep it as an open link. I could also set a password for that link, so maybe they need to know the password in order to access that, that content. I could set an expiration date, so maybe the link is available for the next 2 weeks, but after that expires, so maybe it's a contract or something like that. And also, I could set restrictions, so maybe you want them to be able to view it in the browser, but you don't want them to be able to download the content and walk off with it. Okay, so again, you've got the ability just to simply turn that on or off, that download option. Okay, once you generate your link, you can then, you can then copy and paste that link into an email and simply send that to somebody else. Okay. Cool. So we've looked very quickly at a folder. We've looked at people that we've invited in as collaborators. We've looked at the ability to send a link to somebody, and then also all the ability to sort of turn on and off the different features and functions around the content. So now what I want to do is just turn on my mobile device and show you how the same content is available on the mobile device. So just before I do that, I'm just going to just simply create a new folder in here, and we can maybe call this the Bytes folder. Okay, and I'm just going to add some new content into that Bytes folder. So see on my desktop here, I've got a PDF, so I'm going to simply add that into that Bytes folder. Okay. So there's the content that I've just added in, right? So we're now going to go onto my mobile device. So just 1 second while I just get that up on the screen. Okay, great. So I've opened up my iPad in this case, but as I mentioned right at the beginning, whether it's an iPad or an Android device or a Windows 8 or a BlackBerry, you're going to have exactly the same sort of thing where you'll have a Box app that is designed natively for that operating system. Okay. So in this case, I'm simply going to go in and open up my Box app. What you'll notice is that I need an extra passcode to be set to access my Box application on my mobile device. So I log into Box, and you can see here exactly the same folder structure that I've just been looking at just a moment ago on the web application. Okay, so similar kind of thing. If it's a yellow folder, it's my own personal content. If it's blue, it's a shared folder. I have all these options on the left-hand side. So, for example, if I hit this icon here, you can see these are the offline folders that I have access to. Okay, so any content there, if I've got new content available, so you'll notice just a moment ago I created a new folder with a new file in it. It's telling me here that I've got new versions available of that content as well. Okay, any things that I've done recently, the sort of full audit trail, any steps available to me that I can see here in this view. And then also the OneCloud integrations. So all of the different apps within our App Store, again I mentioned at the beginning, there are over 1,000 different apps which integrate into Box. And you'll see down here, one that I mentioned as well was the iAnnotate application. So in just a moment, I'll open up the PDF and we'll see how we can actually annotate it using PDF, using iAnnotate. You also have the option to search. So once again, I can go into here and I can actually search for any content, again, on my mobile device as well. Okay, so very powerful, very quick, very easy search facility throughout all of your content, whether you're in the web application or indeed on a mobile device. Okay, so let's just simply go into the folder. So we'll go into the same folder we were looking at a moment ago. So go into my marketing folder there, go into presentations, and what you'll see is the Bytes folder that I just added in. So I can click on that and I can view the Box Mobility PDF that I just added in. Okay, so it creates the preview of that and allows me to see this file directly on my mobile device. Okay. So lots of nice features and functions that are available to you on a mobile device that maybe aren't available on a web application. So, our product team take great delight in adding in all these sort of features into Box so that it creates a great user experience. Okay, so it's one thing to be able to view the content here directly on the mobile device, but what you can see here on the right-hand side is that I have all of the same features and functions that I was using just a moment ago in the web application. Okay. So, for example, if I go to this icon here, the sharing icon, maybe I want to create a link to this file and send it to somebody. So maybe I'm speaking to a customer about this brochure, and they want to be sent a link to it. So if I just go to copy link to clipboard, once again, you've got all of those same options around a shared link that I can set here. So, for example, are they able to download this file when I send it to them as a link, for example? Okay. They also have the ability to comment, so I could add in comments just as I did a moment ago in the web application. And then finally, if I click on this link here, this enables me to go to the OneCloud App Store and to leverage all of those different apps that I was just talking about a moment ago. So if I wanted to open this PDF up in a different application, by selecting the top left there, iAnnotate, what it does is automatically open that directly from Box up into iAnnotate and gives me the ability to actually go ahead and edit this piece of content. Okay, so on the right hand side, let's select the tool that I want to use, and I can simply just highlight some text there within my document. Okay. So any changes you make, any sort of redlining you want to do to a document, however you want to describe it, you can do here within iAnnotate. and then simply when you're finished making the change to the document, be able to actually send that document back to Box and then create a new version of that file directly within Box. Okay, so just as we saw with the PowerPoint that we edited in the web application, you can do it here with this PDF. So many different apps within the App Store, depending on the type of file you're using. We have, for example, in the construction industry, with guys using sort of CAD files and those sort of things specific to design of construction sites. They can also use, say, AutoCAD 360 to open up their files directly in the relevant application, make the changes, view the content when they're on the building site, and then save that back to Box as well. Okay, so we have been looking at the sort of standard Box app on a mobile device. Okay, two other things I just wanted to show you very quickly, especially as we're sort of focusing on kind of the mobile way of working. Now, this application here, Showcase, is created by a partner of ours called Taptera. And if I go into Showcase, what you'll see here, I've actually got lots of different examples of different Showcase apps that I've set up. If I just take this pharmaceutical example, this is actually simply a Box folder, and all of these areas here are subfolders within that main Piedra's Pharma Box folder. Okay, so the typical example would be that if you're a pharmaceutical company and your sales reps are out visiting doctors, customers, then they need access to all of their content to be able to show it to the doctors. So what this app allows you to do is simply to reskin the standard Box app with these icons and colors and sort of everything else to make it relevant to your corporate color scheme and your industry. Okay, so as a Piedra's Pharma sales guy, maybe I want to go in and access this cardiovascular folder, and there's my content within that particular folder. And if I take one of those pieces of content, again, maybe I'm speaking to a customer, I want to talk them through this particular brochure, I can simply scroll through it here on the device, and again, if they wanted to actually be sent a copy of this, in the top right-hand corner there where it says share this file, I can simply create a link directly from Box, and this gets inserted into an email. I can then send that to the doctor directly here when I'm actually stood there talking to him. Okay, so that's one sort of simple way of rebranding the content, and this company provide a tool which very easily allows you to upload the icons and the kind of background and text and create that app using the Box app. Okay. Just the third example I wanted to show you very quickly was then taking that a step further with another company that has developed using the API to really create their own mobile app available on any platform using Box as the content layer underneath. Okay, so if I go to this example, this is a company called MTG, and it's a kind of a construction hardware company, and so they have within this app, they have all of the different sectors that they sell to. So let's just take mining as an example. You'll see here that whether it's presentations, videos, photos, documents, anyone who goes into the app has access to any of their collateral. So if I just select one of these presentations, as a customer, I could go in and view the latest presentations that they've got within their app. Okay, scroll through their presentation. And I then also have all of these other options. For example, at the bottom here, if I wanted to go into their latest catalog, I can access all of the different features that they sell, go into it, ask for a quote for this particular item, do anything else I need to do from here. You can also see I can access the forum, I can set my favorites, and I can also go to my MTG, so anything that I've set up within that particular company. Okay, so once again, it's exactly the same kind of thing. It's an app built, for a mobile device, but all of the content that is underpinning this application is held within Box folders. Okay, so all of these presentations, any videos, photos, other documents are held within Box folders. You're just able to reskin it using the API to present it in the way the organization wants to present your content. Okay, so that's what I want to show on mobile devices. It's a sort of very quick, very high-level overview of three different areas. So it's sort of the standard Box app, then the Taptera Showcase app, using how you can simply just use a kit to kind of reskin the folders. And then thirdly, this example, which allows you to totally change the look and feel, but still accessing the content from Box as your content platform. Okay, now if I just go back to where we started from here, so we're back in the web application. The final piece I want to show just for a few minutes is the admin console. Okay, so far we've looked as an end user, but if I was an administrator of Box, then I'd have access to this area here. So just to cover this off very quickly, first thing I see as an administrator is a dashboard report of my different users, what they're doing, how much storage they're using, that kind of thing. I can also see all of the release notes. So every Thursday at Box we release a new version of the system. So new features, new functions are released into the system. As an administrator, you're kept up to date here. You also have various communications from our customer success team. And just to point out, there's no administrative overhead from these releases. It's a silent install, and the features and functions just become available to the users as required. Okay. Now, if I go to my enterprise settings, again, as an administrator, I have the ability to go through all of these different settings to set up the system for my users. First thing maybe that I wanted to do is actually enable some custom branding. So instead of viewing the standard kind of blue Box branding, maybe I want to have custom branding in the system. So I can simply add a logo into the system. So my company is called Magister, and I also want to have some specific color coding in the system as well. So if I simply just update that, you'll see that it adds the logo into the system and then starts to change the color scheme as well. And I can change this so it's exactly aligned with the corporate color scheme. Okay, I have some other security settings that I can do. So maybe I want to set up passwords. There are lots of different settings there, so maybe you require users to reset their passwords on a regular basis, for example. Okay. Maybe custom terms of service is a big thing. For your internal users or your external users, they need to accept the terms of service before they're allowed to access to your content. Okay. I'm just going to whiz through here, just looking at the time. If I look at the mobile and sync pieces, what you saw a moment ago was the ability for me to save the content so it was available to me offline on my mobile device. If you didn't want your users accessing that content offline for any reason, then you're able to turn that off here by simply clicking on the drop down. And another option here is that passcode lock. Again, this is something that the administrator is actually able to enforce, and you can show how often they need to log back in after a certain period of inactivity. Okay. And then the final tab I just wanted to show was about device pinning. So this allows you as an administrator to set up how many different devices the employee is allowed to set Box up as an application on that device. Okay, so maybe if we take the tablet application, so just like I was using the Box app on my iPad just a moment ago, if you set this so that a user is only allowed to set it up on one device, this would mean that I couldn't then go ahead and access my corporate Box account on any other tablet. Okay, so you can make sure that maybe if you give your user a corporate tablet, that's the only tablet they'll be able to access their Box corporate account on. What that also means is if I go to this section here, is I can see that any of the users who've installed that app on any device, so Tim Stone has installed Box on his iPad. Now, if I were to leave the company or have my iPad stolen, for example, then the administrator has the ability to select that and actually remove my access to my corporate account on that device. Okay, so making sure that nobody else can have access to that content. Okay, so just very quickly there, a few settings. I haven't run through all the tabs, just to keep it nice and brief, just to show you some of the options that the administrators are able to set up. And then just the very final thing, before I hand back to the other guys, is the reporting section. Lots of different reports I can run. If I simply just run this audit trail report, what you'll see is that every step that I've just been going through in my demonstration is audited and logged here within this report. Okay, so whether it's me downloading a copy of that mobility PDF that was in that Bytes folder on my iPad, through to any of the other options that I've done there. Okay, as an admin, you've got the ability to then slice and dice this report. So maybe I only want to see a report of all downloads. Run that report, and then you can see there just the downloads of these files. once again, I can kind of click into the file, only see activity against that particular file, for example. Okay, so lots of different options there as an administrator. Okay, so just very finally, I started off here looking at the folder structure. We looked at inviting collaborators in, looking at lots of different types of content, the actions that I can do to that content. We looked at mobile device and looking at the standard Box app through to actually using the API to develop with Box and using Box as the content platform. And then finally looked at the administration console. So hopefully what you've seen is the ability to empower your mobile workforce. Wherever they are, whatever they're doing, they have access to their content and they can stay productive on the road. So that's back over to you guys at Bytes.
Thanks, Tim. That's brilliant. So now we've got about 10 minutes for questions. So if you want to if you have any questions, please do pop them in the box and we'll go through them now. Okay, so we've got a few questions. So one from Derek. Can we have a copy of the slides? Yep, we can. We send those over to you as soon as we can, Derek. And do you provide a white label solution?
So do we provide a white label solution? It depends. That's kind of need a bit more information as to exactly what they're trying to achieve there. What you can do is develop on the API. So if I go to developers.box.com, as a developer, you have full access to the API and to all the information that you need, whether it's a software development kit for creating a Box app or for integrating, say, the View API or the Content API into an application. So we can do it, we just need to understand a bit more about what you're trying to achieve, and we'd talk you through the best way to do that. So maybe if we can follow up offline on that, then very happy to do so.
Yeah, I think Derek wants to know if it can be branded with a reseller's branding. So if you can brand Box with your logo.
Yeah, so I mean, as I showed in the demonstration, so obviously you can add in your logo. If you're looking at doing it as a reseller and having various other companies within that same account, that's kind of a slightly different question. So again, I think maybe we'll take that offline and I'll talk you through that.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Tim. And another question, where are your data centers located?
Sure. Yeah, we have 3 data centers and they're all currently in the US. We have plans for a European data center, but we're still working through the best way to do that and trying to decide if that will be UK or Germany or wherever it will be. But at the moment, yeah, 3 data centers all in the US.
Perfect, thank you. So that's all the questions at the moment. I think we've got another 5 minutes if anyone wants to add another question. And just to answer your question, Derek, we'll pass over Tim's contact details so that we can talk about the reseller branding after this as well. So it doesn't look like there's any more questions at this stage, but please, after the webinar, put your feedback in the feedback form, and if you do want to call back, please do let us know and we can get in touch afterwards. Oh, sorry, one more question just before we go from Georgina. How do you compare to HiQ software? Is that one you've heard of, Tim, or do we need a bit more information?
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm not familiar with HiQ. Again, I can take that offline and come back with any information that I can find.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, please do, Georgina, if you can email us the details, I might give you a call after this and we can get some more information for you. That would be great. So I think that's everything. Thanks again everyone for joining the webinar. You will receive a copy of the recording afterwards and we'll get in touch for any further questions. And thanks a lot, Tim, for joining us.